Good morning, scholars. My name is Chi Kim, and I'm going to read a book to you called Takiya and Thunderheart's Life Garden. It was first published in 1997. And the dedication page is for Chris Feller and Mary Michelle Hirschler, JVM, and Jackie Pass, Gigi. You can probably tell from some of the pictures just using your clues, your picture clues, what this book might be about. Takiya and Thunderheart's Life Garden, written by J. Victor McGuire, and it's illustrated by Gershom Griffith. And here are the pictures and the biographies of the author, J. Victor McGuire and Gershom Griffith. Not far from where you live, in a town like your own, lives a girl named Takiya and a boy named Thunderheart. They are like a lot of kids you know. Takiya likes to play on her parents' computer, rollerblade, write in her journal, climb trees, and play different sports. Soccer is her favorite. Thunderheart likes to fish, skateboard, read stories about people in faraway places, go to the batting cages, and of course, play with his best friend, Takiya. One day, when Takiya and Thunderheart were walking down the street, just like they did every day, they came across an abandoned lot. They had walked right by this lot hundreds of times, but on this day, they chose to stop. Takiya said to Thunderheart, "It sure would be nice if we could clean this lot and make something out of it." "Like what?" Thunderheart asked. "I don't know," said Takiya, "but I'll bet if we think really hard, we can come up with an idea or two." "Okay," said Thunderheart, "you go first." And Takiya agreed and began to look at the big, empty, lonely, vacant lot. She thought and then blurted out, "A baseball field. Let's make a baseball field. We can get our friends together and play baseball all day long." At first, Thunderheart and Takiya loved the idea. They practiced their swings and pretended to catch fly balls, and then suddenly, as quickly as the idea came, it went. They began to lose their joy, and they wondered if the baseball field was such a good idea after all. Takiya looked at Thunderheart and said, "You know, it seems to me that since there's already a baseball field so close by, why do we need another one?" Thunderheart thought for a moment. "Yeah, I guess you're right. We already have a baseball field." Thunderheart sighed. "Well, Takiya, what should we do with this lot?" "I don't know," said Takiya. "It's your turn to think of something." So they sat and they thought and they thought, and suddenly Takiya saw something in the far corner of the lot. It was a blade of grass struggling to break through the dirt and debris. Taking a closer step, she could actually see the bud of a sunflower stretching to reach the sun and fresh morning air. Thunderheart then hurried over to see what had caught Takiya's attention, and together they watched this tiny sunflower work to come to light. And they brushed the glass and dirt from around the bud with their hands so it could be able to breathe and grow. And there it was, free to grow on the big, empty, lonely, vacant lot. Takiya said, "Thunderheart, doesn't it kind of look lonely? It's the only sunflower on this entire lot." And an idea came to them at the same moment. A garden, they both exclaimed at once. "Let's bring this big, empty, lonely, vacant lot to life. Let's grow a garden. Let's call it a life garden," shouted Takiya. Takiya and Thunderheart had never planted their own garden, but they had read about gardens and farms in books at school. "What will we do with our garden? How do you plant a garden?" asked Takiya. "I don't know," replied Thunderheart, "but the first thing we need to do is clear away all this junk." So they rolled up their sleeves and began to put a new face on the big, empty, lonely, vacant lot. And as they were recycling and clearing away all the old tires, broken bottles, empty soda pop cans, and old newspaper, they found $2.47. "So now what?" Takiya pondered. Thunderheart looked at the cleaned up lot and was reminded of what his grandparents would tell him every year around springtime. "Now that the winter snow has kept our land moist, it's our turn to feed it, to keep it green." And Thunderheart knew that the land had to be fed, but he didn't know how to feed it. "I think we can go to the market and ask how we plant a garden," said Thunderheart. They knew they had a lot of work to do. "What should we put in our life garden?" wondered Thunderheart. "I don't know," Takiya said, "but let's go to the market and find out." And that's exactly what they did. It was a beautiful day, and the city market was filled with people buying and selling fruits and vegetables. As Takiya and Thunderheart looked at all the busy activity, they really didn't know where to start or who to ask first. And in the corner of the market, they noticed an energetic woman arranging her fruits and vegetables. Takiya nudged Thunderheart to get his attention, and they walked toward her. "Do you think she'll talk to us?" questioned Thunderheart. "Sure," exclaimed Takiya. And as they headed over to the woman, The sweet smell of fresh vegetables and fruit made them kind of hungry. Hello, my name's Thunderheart, and my name's Takiya. We have a small problem and we need a little advice. Would you be willing to help us? Takiya asked. The woman smiled as she looked down at them. Sure, I'm Lupe. What can I do for you? Thunderheart stepped forward and said, a couple of blocks away, there's a big, empty, lonely, vacant lot that needs some attention. Takiya and I talked about a few ideas for the lot, and we finally decided to make a life garden. You know, a place where we can plant all kinds of fruits and vegetables to help brighten up the neighborhood. Lupe nodded her head in approval, and she asked, what are you going to do with your garden when it's ready to be harvested? And the children looked at each other, puzzled. What will we do? Thunderheart repeated. Yes, Lupe said. When the fruits and vegetables are ready to be picked, what will you do with them? Well, Takiya answered, I think we'll cook them and eat them. Yes, that's what we'll do, Thunderheart agreed. Lupe continued, I really hope you're not going to put everything in one big pot and cook it all together. Do you know what happens when you do that? No, said Takiya. Please tell us, Lupe. Lupe put her arms around both of them and looked in their eyes. Vegetables are somewhat like people. Each has its own distinct flavor, and if you cook them all together, you might lose that. Oh, I get it. Each vegetable has a different flavor, so you should treat them differently, exclaimed Thunderheart. And Lupe added, if you make salads from your garden, you won't have that problem. Each vegetable will add its own individual taste and flavor to the meal. Oh, that makes perfect sense to us. Thank you for your advice, Lupe. And so Thunderheart said Thunderheart, we will do exactly that. We'll make a salad so all the fruits and vegetables can add their own flavor. Sounds good to me, agreed Takiya. Takiya and Thunderheart thanked Lupe for her help and headed off to the neighborhood store to buy lettuce and cucumber seeds. Each packet of seeds was 89 cents. The children spent $1.78, leaving them with 69 cents, not quite enough to buy another packet. On their way out, Takiya noticed that there was an open packet of carrot seeds on the floor. She thought to herself, I wonder if we can get a bargain on this packet of seeds. Excuse me, Takiya said to the manager. My name is Takiya, and this is my friend Thunderheart. We're going to plant a garden down the street, and we don't have much money to spend. We were wondering if you'd be willing to sell this packet to us for 69 cents? The store manager smiled, just as Lupe had. Well, let me see what I can do for you. The manager agreed to sell them the open packet of carrot seeds, plus she gave them a free packet of bean seeds. They now had the seeds to plant, but they needed some sort of fertilizer to feed the soil. Takiya asked Thunderheart, where can we get some fertilizer and gardening tools? Let me see, Thunderheart said. And then he snapped his fingers. Oh, I know. At my grandparents' farm on the outside of town, they have horses and cows, and I've seen them make their own fertilizer. We can get some fertilizer from them. And they also have all the tools we need. And that is what they did. After days and days of work on the soil, they carefully planted the seeds. The garden started to gradually show signs of life. And people came from all over the neighborhood to enjoy the wonderful harvest the life garden had produced. Well, the news spread quickly, as you might guess. Life gardens began to spring up all over the city, and big, empty, lonely, vacant lots were soon a thing of the past. And here's Takiya and Thunderheart's life garden recipe for salad. The ingredients is 1 head of lettuce, 2 medium tomatoes, 2 large carrots, 1 zucchini, a half cup of snow peas, a half cucumber, a half cup of sunflower seeds, a half cup of cheese, and 5 radishes. Salad should be gingerly tossed with your favorite dressing. Add or subtract anything else you desire. Enjoy. And so for those of you who guessed by looking at the pictures at the beginning of the book, probably guessed there was going to be a garden or maybe even a salad. So thanks so much for letting me share this book, and I look forward to reading again soon.